like, oh man, that kind of hurts. Because even though you're not Chinese, you're not Indian, technically, you still like feel a connection to when people talk bad about the place that your parents are from, that you have some connection to, whether intrinsic or by choice, you know what I mean?
No, like my mom stopped talking to her side of the family, and then we stopped going to temple. And I was a little kid, and I was just like, I went because at the back of the temple they have a huge table of just food, and I would always sit through the service because I'm like, I want the food at the end.
True.
But not really. We used to do like Hanukkah and stuff like that, but that also stopped like once my grandma passed.
Part of it is that I just don't like have I'm very Americanized, so I don't have that strong background that like if I were to bring Chinese culture, I would have to bring it myself. I couldn't go into the depths of my memory and say like, what can I bring to the storm? I think I would have to like search up things like.
What about your parents?
Where was your mom born?
Here.
Where was your dad born?
Here.
Where were their parents born?
Taiwan, Hong Kong, Oakland, and mainland China somewhere.
Who's the dude from Oakland?
My mom's dad.
Your mom's dad?
Where was his dad born?
He's full Chinese though. I don't know, but I know he's full Chinese. But he was born in Oakland.
Have a matching pair. She had like a mini pair and their little birds kissing.
Wow, yeah.
And she also said in that picture she has like really big giant hoops that also are like the same with little birds kissing, but she had lost them. So I had asked her that for graduating, or if I got accepted into UCLA, that I wanted her to buy me a pair of big hoops with little birds kissing so that we could have like the matching again.
Like picture of my mom, picture of my girlfriend. This is a parking ticket I got that I have it posted up just because I'm gonna forget to pay for it if I don't.
Yeah. Did you pay it?
No. Not yet. So it's probably not working. But then like stuff like, this reminds me of my brothers because they gave it to me for Christmas. Like film, I have like one of my favorite filmmakers back there, Don Herzenfeld. I'm not sad about the fact that I'm not like really connected with those cultures. Like, obviously I want to try to connect with it, but it's not like I'm like mourning it.
It's like I just never thought twice about like the things we did that like Americans don't do.
What is this? Just fabric?
They're
record.
they're pillowcases, but they're hand stitched tatris, which is like what they call the traditional cross stitches, and they're from Ramola, and I sold them for my mom, and then I framed them. And I need to put them up somewhere because I also have posters up behind it, but I haven't found a place yet. It's like my personal way of like making Palestine unavoidable and making people have to think about it, but also like making it beautiful to them because I don't know what narratives they're consuming. We still exist. B, this, you cannot kill the spirit ever. So you do beautiful things.
It was very much a conscious decision to leave home, and very much a conscious decision to leave Lebanon and to leave the Middle East and to go to someplace completely different and new.
Yeah.
I think what it was is less that I was against bringing parts of my culture with me, and more that I wasn't prepared for like to be so detached from like everything you consider to be familiar, and then having to like learn how to deal with that. And so like bringing things like that is a way to deal with that. Consuming music and like film and literature from your home is a way to deal with that. And it's like it's a never-ending process of like crossing from one culture to the other, from one place to the other.
And how can we reuse it and find ways of
My mom we didn't really go to church that much, but we would go to church, and I did know prayers, but then I was like, I don't feel comfortable in this. So then I like, when I started, like around like 5th grade, I was like, oh, I don't feel comfortable like practicing this religion. Like this doesn't feel right to me. So then I like.
Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, I've like, since I could consent to like what religion I would want to be in, I've been like, no, I don't want to be like Catholic or Christian. And that's why I'm trying to like reconnect with like if we have like what I think is our indigenous traditions and beliefs.
So I think like having these things like on display, like not hidden, just serves as another reminder of like just not forgetting like what I'm trying to work towards.
We don't do anything spiritual. My family, I mean, part of the reason why I'm not spiritual is because my parents weren't spiritual. Their parents weren't very spiritual either. So that plays a huge role in it. So, you know, that's, if I had to guess why I'm not spiritual, it's definitely that.
Like, the story is like, how are you going to assimilate as an immigrant, and not how are you going to stay in touch with the place you came from? Nobody's asking the right question.
I think that's what my dad did too. Is like he wouldn't do any of like he's supposed to do, he's supposed to do like a whole like puja at the beginning of the day, and he got all the thread ceremony and everything, but he never did it. And then more recently he started doing it I think all of us started it mostly because of my brother, because we're like, what's happened to us that like, you know, like what are we teaching our brother?
And like forget about the world around me, but I haven't had the chance and I hate it. I need a break. My grandma always like lights incense for like puja every morning. Like, she takes her shower and then she lights her incense. So I started doing that in the past like couple of years, because I'm like, I need like it's like a routine. It's like it's a westernized puja.
yeah.
But yeah, it's still like a nice way to like reflect and to like think about like, I don't know, bringing like a nice new energy into the day. I guess surrounding myself with like art and artifacts from India, because I like do love like just sort of seeing that around me, and like reminding myself that like the cultural aesthetic that I've been taught to believe is beautiful is not always like European, you know, like, or that it is European but that it shouldn't have to be.
Yeah.
I can sort of unlearn like aesthetic principles that teach me that like non-white art isn't as beautiful or as like unique or like as difficult to create, you know?
I like your bindi.
Thank you. I actually wear a lot of bindis. That's another thing that I do all the time. I'm always wearing a bindi. Especially when I've gotten rid of my eyebrows, I feel like I just need something to like center my face, to like focus on, you know?
The bindi? I think more recently, I really like how I look in it. But it's also like, it's a symbol of concentration. It's a symbol of my culture, because it makes me feel more connected to like who I am and like to being Hindu. I'm doing this for me, and it feels nice to like, you know, to be a part of my culture. Ganesh, it just also reminds me of home, you know, like it feels like, you know, it makes me feel comfortable like having Ganesha here, because like just being able to see Ganesha and know that like the gods are always like, it's like a reminder that they're here for me, you know. And like we have a big altar with like all the gods, that like, you know, a big just dedication to the gods at home, and we do puja, and it feels kind of bare not having Ganesha here, and like not having any gods here. So it's like I'm taking a piece of home with me, and I'm also taking like a piece of my culture, and I guess like, it does make me feel really safe having Ganesha here. Like somewhere in my brain, I go, okay, nothing really bad can happen to me because I have my gods watching over me.
These are my grandpa's Dashavatar sculptures. Dashavatar is like one of my favorite like Hindu like stories. It's about like the 10 different incarnations of Vishnu. And when I was doing like my Odissi dance, like there's this one, it's called an Abhinaya, it's like a storytelling dance, but there's this one dance that I did like about a year ago where I had to dance out all 10 different forms of the Dashavatar.
Wow.
And then when I went to go visit my grandpa over the summer, my grandma and my aunts were all saying that I should take this home because I love Dashavatar so much and because he's had this for like 40 years. So a little artifact in my house.
Like, and most of the stuff that like is like more old is like a lot of the stuff here that's like very Persian is stuff I've saved from going into the trash can. Because we had to get Kirchhoff professionally cleaned, and I saw this poster in a picture of the rooms that were a mess, and I was like, can someone save me this poster? And well, I got the poster saved. Like someone saved it for me, but then they were like, if you want anything from like the rooms, like feel free to go through them. And I stepped into the room and I saw like all this other stuff on the wall. I saw this cool like cork board up on the wall, as well as like things that are just like very Persian and like Iranian. Like for example, this tabletop is like, very Persian.
Well, I just use the spices I find in the store. You feel me? The ones that sound familiar, like that paprika and stuff. And then I just, whatever I'm feeling when I'm cooking, depends on the ingredients I have. Like, I go to the grocery store, I just pick out what looks good, and then once I see everything in the kitchen, I combine what I have like in ways that make sense. So I'll make kind of like Asian-inspired dishes or Middle Eastern-inspired dishes, just based on what I have and what I can cook in the pan.
So definitely, yes, this is something that my mom gifted me. I believe it was at I think it was my quinceañera that she gave it to me. But I think like despite like not being like super active like within like the Catholic like religion and stuff, it's such a cool reminder of like my mama who is still really active in it. Yeah, I just like having like little pieces of her around. But yeah, I'm really big on like zodiacs and stuff, which is really cool because I feel like that comes from my grandma. My grandma's Indian, so she's like really big.
Oh, really?
Zodiacs. Yeah, so like when we were all born, she got like our charts. Okay. Yeah, so this one is
That's
like,
awesome.
I know, I love this. This is like my